So when I was putting this all back together, the bolts that were here and also this one, they stripped, unfortunately. So although we were able to test that the fix worked for the by replacing the thermostat and cleaning up the thermostat housing, so now we have water working right, I'm gonna have to pull the power head again. And I have helicoils. I bought these on Amazon, and we're going to fix the stripped out bolts. We have two that stripped. Let's see, it was, I'm not sure if I should be able to just remember, but it's this front left and back left, both stripped, unfortunately. And so we'll have to replace those. I'm not going to show you pulling the power head because, well, you've already seen it. One other item, when we put this back together and fired it up to run it, there was just a little trickle of gas coming out of the fuel pump. Rather than rebuild it, I went on Amazon or eBay and found System Match, the actual OMC. This is the actual right part number, 391667. This is the correct fuel pump, original old stock. So we will be able to do the actual replacement. We'll do that after since we have to pull these hoses anyways, I'm gonna replace that after I fix the, add the helicoils to the power head. All right, I took the fuel pump off. Just these two, took off the hoses, and then I think it was these two screws. Yeah, the one sticking out there. I'm saving them in case I reuse them. There is this gasket as well. Take that off. That's where the fuel pump was. I'm just going to remember where all these wires are because I got to take this whole power head off again. Remember, this threads up underneath these. And remember that bolt, this thing sticks up. That bolt goes right there. It's one of the white bolts, the little head. It does matter. This bolt is almost interchangeable with this one with the little red on it over here. But you have to make sure the red one goes in there. And you have to make sure this one with the washer, you'd probably store it with the washers on. This one and this one I think are the same. Remember, this wire comes under here to the right of this when you put it back on. Make sure that when you put it on, before you put any bolts on, thread this back through the fuel hose. Note this arrangement here. So you have this going for the top, this for the bottom, and then this, make sure you remember the orientation. Text here should be up. It almost seems backwards, but you need to make sure that this wire comes out the back here and wraps around. And then the other wire kind of comes up like this and this. All right, that's important because unless this comes out of here, it won't reach all the way over here to this. So when you reassemble, you want to make sure you remember all of this. All right, so I have two stripped bolts, this hole and this hole. This is a brand new gasket. I'm going to try and save it. I got some helicoils. I have the drill bit for the helicoil. I'm going to try and go really slow. I guess I could try to lift it. Oh yeah, I can lift it up a little bit right there. And that should hopefully save it. I'm going to try and get this lined up. We drilled that one out. This is aluminum, so it's really soft and pretty easy to get through. All right, I think that's really it. So we have 2 of the 3 that were stripped, and we're going to do the helicoil on them. I'm going to vacuum out. So I guess the setup I have doesn't come with the tap, but I happen to have a tap, so I can do this. Just want to make sure I get that all good and clean. Now that's going to be a pain. This is in the way. So, I guess we have to take that off. Take some doing. Probably could have used my seems to want to stick to that. I'm trying to save this, so I'm gonna keep it like just like this, and just kind of pull it up. All right. The bottom, back it out. So this one doesn't go clear through, and with the helicoils there's a little tiny tab that you have to break off. All right. I'm hoping that I can get the tab off without having to break it, or without and still be able to recover it, I guess. I'll call it a coupon. It's what they, in the pipeline world, when they tap a pipe, the little section of pipe that they cut out, they call a coupon. This is like a similar sort of thing. All right, all the way through. So we have these 2 tapped. So this is the helicoil. Let's see. This is the helicoil that goes inside where we just tapped, and it'll seat. That little, I'm gonna call it a coupon because you're gonna bust it off and waste it when you're done. This goes on like so. And this little groove here holds this, and this allows you to turn that into the threads that you just created. And then when you're done, then we take a punch and we break the coupon off in order to get our screws in. All right, I'm gonna do this one. This goes in nice and smooth. You want to get it down so that it is below the surface. So it's not going to interfere with your gasket. I think right there is good. And then we'll do the same with the other one. These go in nice and easy. I've heard of people using thread locker on these. I don't think it's necessary. I saw some tests where these basically will hold stronger than the aluminum. So I don't think you need to thread lock these in. And then this is the little tool that's supposed to break off the little coupon. Yep, you just kind of push it by hand. Just like that. And we are good. All right. I'm just going to test that. These are the bolts that go in there. Just going to test and make sure it goes in smoothly. Oh yeah. Good. Good to go. Threads are fixed. All right. Or adhesive. This is gasket adhesive, so it works a bit like glue. I'm just going to put a little bit. I'm not going to do it all over. I'm just going to put it on the one spot where I think that I might have tore the gasket a little bit. All right, I'm getting ready to put the power head back on here. And I want to kind of have everything in order. This has to make sure that we keep it on this side of this little hole right here. That's where the throttle linkage comes in. And we want this cable here on this side of that. We want to make sure that this fuel hose comes around here behind where the power head goes. This telltale, we want, kind of out of the way, and this goes right underneath the telltale. These, they can just kind of come up here and stay out of the way that direction. This, I'm going to have kind of propped up, hanging off to that side. And I think that's everything I want. The whole goal of this is to try and just have everything set up nicely for putting the power head back on, so everything is where it needs to be. All right, so I got this screwed on. I was using the wrong screw. I had to switch it out. I was switched between these two. So I guess that's a reminder. Mark where you take your screws off. I just keep them all in one pile, and I thought I was using the right one, but I was using the wrong one. So, all right, we got it now where it needs to be. I also connected this wire here. I took this bolt off here and put it on here. Now we're going to try and get it to settle again. There we go. And now we should be able to put this on here. A trick with this, you need to be able to pull this all the way down, which means you have to pull everything else up. And this has to go. Let me see if I can get you where you can see it. All right. So these teeth here have to engage on this right here. And it's kind of hard to do with the screw in or with the bolt in. So you got to kind of get it lined up first. Get it engaged. And you want it in the right one. All right. I guess if it's engaged in one of them, it'll work. Because you'll be able to adjust or switch the gears after the fact. Make sure you have, this has these plastic spacers. You want to make sure you have those in place so that you don't accidentally cross thread. And you might have to push. All right, we're gonna. He really wants to cross thread on me. All right, there we go. There we go. So you want to get these spacers in there and push it up tight. Make sure this is engaged, and then this should not cross thread. It should go right where you want it. Okay, well, that's down, that's tight, and now it should work to shift gears. All right. All right, now I think the best thing to do is to attempt. So we have to make sure this hose is in the good spot. It needs to go over this. I'm going to make sure this wire is in the right spot. It is. All right. And I think we can start connecting some of the bolts now. We first put this little screw on, connect this, making sure it's in, already seated in here, in this spring. Connect this, connect the telltale, all while it's still like 4 inches up. All right, once you've done that, then work on the bolts. So this bolt first, this bolt second, this bolt third. And once you have those 3 bolts on, you can come back under here and put the 6 bolts back on. And once you have those on, get all your electrical hooked back up and situated. I'm still working on it here. You can see I still have to put these brackets on the thermostat housing here. Once you have that electrical all put back, then you can go ahead and put the carb back on. Put this back on. Actually, you put this back on, then put the carb back on. Or, sorry, I put the carb back on. Which way did I do that? Pretty sure I put the carb back on, then put this back on. And then everything should be good to go. In theory. I'll show you. I'll come up with any other tips once I get done. So just looking at these, you see the 2 here, 6 there. There's a number here on the bottom, ends in 472. It's got a marking there. Over here, instead of a 2, this one has a 9, it looks like. And then an A has the same part down here, 320472. That's the same number, 320472. It's got the same symbol up there. So I think this might be just a later, maybe it's a later water pump, but everything else is the same except for where that little tube is coming off. And so I think that given this has all the same kind of markings, this is definitely an OEM. Made in Mexico. This one doesn't say it was made anywhere. But it should be the right part. I'm gonna see, maybe I can just put it on like that. I'll see if I can get the hoses to work and we'll see how it works. All right, here's the directions that came with it. Looks like, according to this, the outlet nipple on the new fuel pump is different than the old fuel pump being replaced. A shorter hose is needed between pump and carb. Cut old hose to 8.5 inches or cut new fuel line from a roll. All right, kind of makes sense. If I try to put this on here, like so, which this points down, which is a little bit odd. I think that's supposed to always point up. But you can see before, this hose came up and around like this to connect. And now it's going to be coming from down here. So because that's coming from down, you're going to cut off, I don't know, it's going to be an 8.5 inch hose instead of, so it's going to be half the length of the hose. It's not going to be this long, it's going to be half the length. All right, well, I'll cut it to length and we'll assemble it. All right, we're going to get this installed. So like I said, it's going to be a different length on each side. I'm putting the new little spacer on there. I'm going to start with, insert this. Okay, that's on. We need to cut this to the appropriate length while it is mounted, which should be something like right here. I'm gonna go maybe my air on the long side. And then we will, I don't even know if that needs like a hose clamp on it at all. I think that'll do just fine like that. And yeah, I guess that's it. Oh, we lost our little Okay. Of course, this would fall down. All right. And slide that on. And we'll just give this a few turns to get it started on each side. All right, that one's started. Well, feel that. That feels a little cross-threaded. I don't want to get it cross-threaded. First, back it out. Okay. That seems on. Give it a few turns, tighten it up. There we go. My plan is going to be, I'm using this universal bit here, and I'm just going to try and line up this with my fingers and hope that it doesn't fall out like that. Okay, well, plan B. I'm going to try taking this, using the magnet. Maybe I can get it started with the magnet. There we go. I got it seated. I just got to get it like a turn or two. Get this on it. We might be getting it. Yes, we are. All right, we got that nice and snug. I don't know how you could work on these without these little universal bits. These universal things. I don't think you could work on this motor. Take this nut off that we had put on there to keep everything seated together. got it started. Okay. Now we should be good. There we go. All right. Now let's see if we get it all back together again correctly. All right, got fuel to it. It seems to be working properly. Put it in gear. Or not in gear, we'll put it in neutral. We'll give it a choke. And we have the battery hooked up. We'll test it and see if the electric start works. It worked. All right. We'll choke it down. You can see the water, the telltale is much improved from last time. We fixed the stripped screws. We put the new fuel pump on it. We put a new thermostat in it. We cleaned out the thermostat housing. Cleaned out the entire inside. Painted the inside of the motor so it's nice and clean. Lots of work on this motor. But it's like new now. Look at that. It's like beautiful. Okay, now with the cover on it. I've done everything I'm going to do to this motor. I've done almost everything there is to do to one of these motors. So this one's going to be up for sale.